Hey there, welcome to a new video. In this video we talk about spectrum. Spectrum is a really simple audio effect which allows us to see what's going on in the frequency spectrum. So I put an insert in the master channel. Let's see how it works. So we have the block section. We can expand it. We have the block section that defines the definition of the whole playback. So we have more detail if we turn it up, but we also use more CPU. So I highly recommend using fewer blocks on the master channel or on groups and higher blocks on single sounds whenever we want to spot some issues, some nasty frequencies, anything. Then we have the channel selector, left, right, left and right. If we pan this to one side and this to the other, this is why you don't want to pan your kick. Then refresh. Refresh time is how fast this whole playback, all this visual is refreshed. So if we set longer time, we see the overall thing. If we set it at 40 milliseconds, we can see more details instantaneously. I suggest using shorter refresh sounds on highly dynamic sounds or short sounds, and longer refresh times on the master channel, where you just want to see the overall situation. You don't want much detail in terms of dynamics, or if you want details in terms of dynamics, you can use short refresh times. But if you want to focus on the tone, on the tonal balance, use higher refresh time. Then we have the average. So lower values update the display more often and are useful for measuring peaks. Higher values result in a slower rate of change and are useful for measuring the average over time. So let's try with a longer time. So it just changes. Then we have the graph. Can see the lines, which is really useful for let's say single frequencies. Maybe you are not sure what frequencies is this, if it's 456 or 463, but we can see that we have two frequencies going on. Then we have the maximum amplitude, which is this thing. It's a sort of ghost line that sits there whenever the frequencies, each frequency peaks at the highest value. Then we have the scale, we have logarithmic, which is the default one, linear, and in semitones. Logarithmic and semitones doesn't change the scale because semitones, octaves, are logarithmic. Then we have the auto or range. If we set it at auto, we can see that the scale changes depending on the dynamic of the sound. If we set it to range, we have it fixed. And that's it for the spectrum. It's a really complete spectrum, and it's also simple. It's just this little thing, and it displays a lot of stuff for being a stock plugin. So I really recommend using it. I sometimes use some external VSTs, but most of the time I use Spectrum. So this is it. See you in the next video.